now the question is, what is the structure of that space? Well, we know a part of it, which is what mathematicians have been studying. They in fact have a pretty good map of at least some corner of that space. We do not have a map of our space that has to do with cognitive kinds of things. But I think we have a very healthy research program now to map out that space by making new kinds of constructs that dip into that space and show us what else is in there. So for example, if you have a standard frog embryo, you have one point in that space, and it's a well understood point. Everybody's studied it for 100 years, and but you don't know what's around it. So you can start to make these things that are tools that are like, I see these things as like periscopes to kind of explore that latent space. So we can make certain changes. We can make a frogolotl, and now you get to find out what's in the space between a frog and an axolotl. If you make xenobots, you are somewhere else in that space that's related but not really the same. And so all of these things to me are constructions of pointers into that space where we get to find out what comes forward. And then eventually, with enough effort to understand the mapping, we start to build up a map of that space. And the goal is to have rational design. So the goal is then, okay, if somebody says to me, I want an organ that looks like this, or I want a biobot that can do this and that, or I want an AI that does this other thing, we have some idea of what it is that we're building to have these things appear. With all of these things, I think you get way more than you put in. And if simple old bubble sort can do things that we never had any idea about, and it is not obvious at all from the actual 6 lines of code that is bubble sort, then boy, that space is rich and surprising. But I don't think it's random, and I don't like the kind of Mysterian approach that we're just going to assume these are random things that show up from time to time. I think we should be mapping that space.